What is up, guys? Today I am happy to report myself making a stream after I considered myself to be symptom free after 3 consecutive days. I told myself I want to have 3 consecutive days of not sneezing and I want to have 2 consecutive days of not coughing. And all of a sudden, it's like one night I went to bed and I woke up the next day, and it's like not a damn thing happened. All I have is an occasional, like, remnant of the coughing and mess that I had going on. But I'm like, I should be in pretty good shape to finally sit here and just talk my life away like I am used to. And today, in particular, I wanted to discuss something that I was surprised to see that I hadn't really discussed yet officially, and that is the hygiene of restaurant workers. And it's not necessarily like I have a horror story, but I feel like it's something that needs to be discussed. But you know me, I like to discuss it more from the perspective of what I wonder about it as opposed to evidential stuff. So the first thing that I have observed that kind of turns me off about eating somewhere is when I pull up at the parking lot and I see a worker standing outside smoking. Something about that upsets me. I find it revolting. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you are a terrible person or you are less valuable because you have a deadly habit. That's on you. But if I find out that you're the person working in the kitchen, I just really want to pray as hard as I can to just make sure that you're being proper with your hygiene, because I have observed people who simply do not know how to properly wash their hands. And when you smoke, that's something that just lingers. And it's not something that a simple rinse can take care of. And something about me knowing that someone that has that habit is handling my food, it makes me uncomfortable. But at the same time, if I'm really that concerned about people's hygiene and I want to make sure that I remain 1,000% healthy, maybe I shouldn't be going out to places and eating food. But I'm just saying that my perception of the place in general is altered somewhat if I catch you being a worker, especially in the kitchen, and I see you out smoking. The last time I saw this was my boyfriend went to Popeyes to pick up an order of fries, and I was like, hey, I haven't eaten anything from here while the line is sort of down. I would like to try one of the fries, and they were good. I liked them. So eventually I'll get around to trying some of their food when I get a little healthier than I have been lately. But anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, I saw one of their workers was outside smoking, and I'm like, I hope you're not in the kitchen. Because just because you wear an apron doesn't mean that you're hands on prepping, but you can't help but wonder if you cannot see behind the scenes, anything can happen. And then something else that kind of is when I see an employee coughing and you are really close to food. For me, if I'm going to be coughing, I try to be super discreet about it, which is like cough into my sleeve, face the absolute opposite direction if there's food nearby, or completely duck and cough toward the ground. Yes, I do that, and I immediately apologize to the person. I don't work fast food, but sometimes there is ready to eat food that is uncovered that comes through my line. So I try to be really mindful about that. And as soon as I'm done with one order, I hit my sanitizer. That's not the same as thoroughly washing your hands, but at least I am trying to keep germs at bay, especially if I know that I'm on a register and I'm handling all kinds of cash that comes from God knows where. And while on the note of being at the register, today I went to some bakery, and there was only one person working at the counter, working at the register. This was the same person, also answering the phone, and the line was starting to get backed up. And I'm thinking, are you by yourself in this establishment? Why don't you have any support? Why are you by yourself? You know that today is going to be a busy day for you because you have some kind of a promo going on, which I didn't go there for that. I went there for a pastry that mom had mentioned that she wanted, and I just said, hey, well, I'm on that side of town, I'll go ahead and get it. But it bothered me that I saw her. Let's say there were three people ahead of me. She helped one person, rang them up, came back, helped the next person, rang them up, came back, and I'm like, why are you not washing your hands? Why are you not putting on gloves? I understand that you're using tongs for everything that you're doing, but especially after you just handled cash and you're about to handle food, whether directly or indirectly coming into contact with it, the sole fact that you're placing your hands onto this object that is handling food, germs can just spread, you know? And then what bothered me the most was that she grabbed like those bakery tissues, whatever you call those, and then she was attempting to wipe the tongues with that. And I'm like, no, what you need to do is get a brand new utensil. If you're really that concerned that the strawberry frosting from the previous order got onto the tongs and now you're getting ready to help me when I'm getting something that's completely unrelated to that product. The best you can do is limit that tongue to the same type of product. If you're getting a, let's see, what do they have? If you're getting an eclair, then use eclair tongs. Apple fritter, tongs. Apple pie, tongs. Cake square, tongs. You know, stuff like that. But it really upset me because when she helped me, I said, hey, would you please wrap those up for me? Because I just needed it to go because it's going to someone else. And then she was like, normally I don't do that because that is something that we actually do out of courtesy. And I just bowed my head and I let her talk, but at that point I wasn't really listening, but of course I could hear her. And then she was just talking as she handled my food, and I'm like, just what are you doing? Just shut up. Never speak when there's food directly in front of you. You may not think that you're spitting into it, but you are spitting into it. And she just kept talking and telling me, I'm going to do this today just because the line is not too horribly long. And the line was like almost out the door. And all I said was, thank you. And then I left. But what I wanted to say was, if you're really that concerned about your work piling up on you, get somebody else or call someone in. And also, if you want to bother me about simply requesting that you wrap up my pastry, you know what I can say? I'm going to be like, you're not being compliant with sanitation procedures in this establishment. Like, I could very easily call the state or something and be like, this place is not very hygienic, you know? But, anyways, and stuff like that bothers me. Don't get into an argument with the customer over something petty. What does it cost you to wrap something up? All you have to do is put plastic around it and shove it in a bag and hand it to the customer. You know, but don't arm a show. And what kind of bakery tells you, I cannot wrap something up for you because my line is backed up? Like, I don't care. Maybe have your place more staffed. And if you're simply a team member, you need to talk to your manager or drag your manager out to the floor and tell them what's happening. But yeah, you know, that a nasty attitude is probably just as bad as a place that doesn't have proper sanitation. And I remember that when I discovered this bakery 2 years ago, it had the shittiest reviews on Google, and they kept saying, there's this old lady that's pretty rude and she does a shitty job. And I could never piece it together since it had been years. I thought maybe this person no longer works there. But I saw the date of the review and it was only a few weeks like recent. And I'm like, oh, this person is probably still working there. Fortunately, that's not the only establishment, that bakery. They have two more stores, but it's the one that was closest at the time. So I went there for the convenience, but very easily, if I were really an asshole, I could have been like, I'm going to ask you to turn around and give me a new piece of pastry because I was not comfortable with the way you were handling my product. But I'm not that type of person. I didn't feel like wow, I'm gonna die from this. But I take that mess seriously because I know of people who have gone to the hospital over food poisoning because they came into contact with like bacteria or something that could have been very easily prevented had you washed your utensils, worn gloves, washed your hands, and if you're sick, just stay at home or something. All of those cases. So, yeah, just don't get in an argument with a customer over something stupid. Just don't. Let the house burn down, but take care of your customer. And then something else that of course makes me trippy sometimes is if you're sniffling, but I only mind the sniffle if you are once again directly handling my food. But if you're just incidentally around food and you just have a little bit of a sniffle going on, no big deal. But if you're like super liquidy on the face, then please stay away from food. Um, but it usually doesn't really bother me unless it's just constant, like every 3 seconds you're just sniffling, then please just stay away from food. But other than that, it doesn't really damage my perception entirely, but it does worry me sometimes. Like if you're sick, what's happening behind the scenes? Hopefully, managers really enforce the if you're sick in any way, you don't mess with food. Because sometimes when you have your work piling up, you do dumb stuff. You make dumb decisions. And I wouldn't like to find out that management in these establishments or even the manager themselves are like, you know what, I know I'm fucked up, but customer perception is important and we need to get this food out quickly. Just don't do that. I would rather wait and you tell me that the reason I'm waiting is because we only have one pro in the kitchen that's fit for the job than, okay, you're giving me this food and putting me at risk. It's just not nice. It's not fair. And it's just crazy. And then something else is during the summer months, if you happen to sweat, and I understand that the kitchen environment gets toasty up in there, but I hope that the clothing that you are wearing is really good about protecting you against sweat, especially your gloves. I hope that they don't have a defect on them because let me tell you, wearing gloves, even if you're not in a kitchen environment, you will sweat. And God forbid if there's an impurity in the glove or if you have a glove that's damaged in any way, it gets out of control. It gets gross. It gets nasty. It's crazy. Just don't do that. Make sure that you inspect your stuff regularly and switch gloves super often. Especially if you step away or touch another surface, you need to be switching gloves immediately. I have seen monsters who help one person and they keep the same gloves even though they're about to handle completely different kinds of food. Let's say that you're at a one of those places that has multiple things to serve. One person helps me with a slice of pizza. They move on to the next person and help them with a sandwich. You need to be switching gloves in between. So it really bothers me when I see people just sticking to the same glove. One time I was at a yogurt parlor that they serve it for you. And I said to myself, okay, if this person is going to serve it for me, they're going to be generous, they're going to be careful, whatever. Well, this monster had one bare hand, and she was using that bare hand to handle money and run the register. And with the hand that had the glove, she was dispensing the yogurt, and then with the uncovered hand, she was holding my cup. When I saw that she was doing that, or not my cup, but the customer's cup, when I saw that that's how she was conducting business, I turned right the fuck around. I did not give that place an opportunity. And it's crazy. If you are going to do multiple jobs, you need to follow proper procedure. If you're going to be a person making food and you're going to be the one taking the money, after you take the money, that's when you need to wash your hands before you help the next person. And of course, put a brand new set of clothes. You do not just keep a hand not contaminated to then use the contaminated hand to handle the contaminants. And then you're just trying to save time, keeping one hand covered. No! You are a disgusting monster and you do not deserve to keep your job. Do things right, even if it takes time. If the consumer is really that concerned about their experience and visiting you, they're going to see you and be like, this person is alone, but she is taking her time to do stuff right, which is you're mindful about hygiene. Most people may not even pay attention to detail like that, but if you're someone who knows about that type of thing, someone out there is watching you, and you never know who's there to audit you. So there's a lot of times when people are only compliant when they know they are going to be observed. No, you need to be perfect every single time, every single day. You never know who's watching, who's documenting you, or who is recording you. And fortunately, in my experience, doing whatever kind of job it is, anytime I have access to documentation of me being audited, I seem to pass 100%. I feel like there was only one time when I failed to ask the customer a question, like, say, do you have, what was it? I think it was, do you have the rewards card or something? And other times it's if you have a promo going on and you don't offer something, then the person gets it for free. I think I messed one of those up one time, but no big deal. Management said you probably got caught up in the stress of long lines and whatever. And I said, honestly, I just froze in that moment in time. No big deal. But usually when I get audited for the more serious things, clean bill of health. So that makes me really proud. And I guess because that is how I am, I like to hold other people to the same standards. I know I'm not perfect, but when it comes to hygiene, I don't mess with that. And then finally, of course, I have mentioned this throughout my discussion, but the frequency of hand washing. If I am visiting an establishment and in the time that I'm able to observe you in your food prep area, if I do not see you washing your hands often enough, it really disturbs me and I very easily will get up and go. I do not give you a chance. And that's why I'm not a big fan of sit-in restaurants that you cannot see what's going on behind the doors. You just never know, and you want to believe that everything is being done well, but shit, sometimes I'm scared of ordering a lemon slice on the rind of my cup because I don't know if you even rinsed this veggie. And if you rinsed it, did you have dirty gloves on? Did you have dirty hands on? Who fixed my drink? Something as simple as that can carry germs. And me knowing all that, I'm so conscious about it, but at the same time, I'm taking a massive risk. And I guess in my time going to restaurants, I have never really gotten ill. But when I read stories of places where that happens, that's when I'm like, I should learn my lesson and just stick to cooking at home and forget about the convenience of restaurants, even if it's for dates or something. But but fortunately, I can calm my mind down. And I'm telling myself, some people just want to be trusted. Some people want to be given a chance. And if you're at your job and you're feeling like you're constantly scrutinized, then I feel like that may discourage you from doing a good job. So if I can be that person who remains chill and you will do a good job without feeling pressured, like you know the routine, you're compliant at all times, then I don't see why you need to be so tough about it, you know? But anyways, you guys, that pretty much concludes my thoughts on this topic, I guess. Do you guys have any horror stories? Or have you yourself being a shitty employee who never took hygiene seriously? Or are you insanely thorough with this stuff and you understand the dangers of it and therefore you don't want to take any chances and be known for that person who ruined the kitchen experience for a restaurant or people? Just let me know. I would like to hear some horror stories or good stories or anything for that matter. Let's see the comments. Art student says interesting subject, or when you hear the cashier say they have a bad cold or flu. Oh my god. Yes, you're not even supposed to be allowed into work if you officially have the flu, but if you have a really bad cold, then I would hope that you at least take maybe 2 days off to fight off the worst symptoms. I find that if you're under stress, physical fatigue, and missing your dosages, it takes you forever to get over certain ailments. But if you're able to keep in mind the time that you need to take your next dosage and you stick to it, then you'll be fine. But I feel like stress management is incredibly important because for me, I find it that I take a long time to recover from stupid stuff if I'm under immense levels of stress. But fortunately, the older I get, the easier it becomes. You just gain experience, you gain confidence, and you're like, okay, I have a sniffle, a sneeze here and there, no big deal. I just need to take care of myself better. I just need to make sure that I stay hydrated and eat my fruits and veggies, and everything will be all right. My body will take care of the rest. But I'm always honest. If I had like something that gets out of control, like symptoms of vomiting, nausea, what else is dangerous? Jaundice, or definitely diarrhea. Do not come to work. Just don't. Fortunately, I never have those symptoms. Anything that happens to me never gets that bad. But if it did get that bad, I would just stay at home. Nobody deserves to be exposed to it, no matter how many bills I have to pay, and no matter how at the edge or verge of losing my home I am. I would rather just stay at home and be like, I'll figure out how to find all this money later. But I think that would be a very selfish decision, and I couldn't live with myself knowing that I have exposed a large number of people to disease. I know that other people out there are not considerate to me as I am considerate of them. Like sometimes we get these really sick ass customers come through, and I'm like, why are you here? Especially if your perception of taste is limited. Why are you coming here for food? Get out, get away from me, get away from us. We should really find a way to implement quarantine in businesses. At the first symptom that someone is sick, just be like, hey man, sorry, but this is a demon free environment. We don't mess with the flu, we don't mess with the cold, we don't mess with diarrhea and stuff. So come back to see us. Maybe give them a voucher or something once they're symptom free. But we need to figure out a way how to keep sick people away from the rest of the population, and maybe that way disease can truly be eradicated. Although eradicating disease would have other consequences, like it would mess up the natural order of things. Like some creatures do need to perish and succumb to disease, for the sake of the environment and whatever reasons. But when it comes to stuff like this, there's so much that individuals could do to prevent these kinds of disasters from happening. And I see people reluctant to do it for selfish reasons. And I'm like, just plan your life better. Put it that way. If you get sick, have your medicine at home so that you don't have to go out and get it. Just inspect the expiration date, and if you happen to have medicine that's about to expire, sure, make that exception. But I just go out of my way so much to keep everyone around me healthy, and then other people are not as considerate of others, and I don't like that. I'm not perfect by all means, but I try to consider this type of thing. Anyway, hi, milady. Good to see you again. It is so good to be here. I didn't know when I would be back. I definitely missed this, and I tried to film a few things in between, but there's nothing like being able to sit here and chat away forever. But yeah, I'm feeling a whole lot better, and hopefully my better feeling is here to stay because I do not want to be that miserable again, especially having respiratory issues that were pretty severe. Like I was gasping for air at night, and then this weather is also not helping the cause because most of the time I'm like dry as hell. I have used up 1 bottle of lotion already, and this is a ginormous bottle, like 32 fluid ounces. So like, yeah, this winter needs to go away. It's not even winter yet, is it? So the worst is yet to come. But anyways, I'm just ready for my optimal weather, which is spring. It's important the restrooms to be clean because it's not clean means the food is dirty. Oh my god, yes! The other day I was somewhere and their bathroom was a complete mess and their trash cans were overflowing, and I'm like, this is unacceptable. There is no reason why there's not a single team member. If you have a crew of 20 to 25 people, there's no reason why there's not a single soul who can take 5-ish minutes to get rid of the trash. You know, that's unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And do not just limit yourself to keeping the tables clean just so that the customer can sit down in a clean table. The entire area needs to be clean. And that's something that I can be pretty bossy about when I'm at work. If I see stuff not being taken care of, like puddles, dirty tables, trash, I'm like, am I working by myself or what? Why isn't anybody here owning stuff? You're not on a register. You're doing nothing. You can be doing something. Like, I can get a little, what is it, delegative. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like, I like to think like a manager and delegate tasks because it's just not fair for me to start owning that stuff by myself. I got the same training that you guys got. There is no reason why you need to be slacking on this thing. And once again, that really, it's a big deal when it comes to customer perception. And you guys know me, I'm not a corporate lover. I could care less about the quadrillions that companies make collectively, but at the same time, I like to have integrity, and that's the reason why I like to go to places and do a good job and pretend like what I do is important when it really isn't. But I like to feel like these people are, out of all of the places that they could have gone to get food, they're choosing us. If it were my own home, I would want for these people to come back. And that's how I feel about it. I'm like, work is sort of my home since I spend so many hours in there. Let me make sure that I'm doing what I can to protect the area and the integrity and all that, you know? But honestly, for me, when it comes to making rich people richer, I don't care about that. Like, those politics don't seduce me at all. But once again, if you're going to be somewhere and spend so many hours of your day in that place, why not do a good job? Just go ahead and do a good job and make everybody else's day painless, you know? The thing that gets me is when the bathroom is a mess and the staff doesn't seem to care. Ew. Yeah, like, how are you an employee and you yourself need to use the bathroom because you guys do not necessarily have a designated employee bathroom, and you see that mess and you don't own it within 5 minutes? Or better yet, while you're there, start doing something or bring the materials with you. But if you're the same worker who's ignoring the fact that maintenance is not being done, cleanliness is not being maintained, like, to me, cleaning should be the responsibility of the entire team. Even if you have a designated porter, it's not like you need to wait for them to get to things. They may be tied up with other things. So I think that keeping the house clean is everybody's job, no matter who you are, whether you're management or you're just a brand new team member, whatever you are. Just, this is the responsibility of everybody. And it's weird to me that there are places where their employees, team members, whatever term you use, like Chick-fil-A, they call themselves team members. Yeah, like, there's no excuse for there to be trash. And I'm really happy that management that deals with customer relations is serious about this, because anytime that I have brought it to their attention, like, say if I emailed them about it, they take my feedback seriously. They reply and say that they will address the issue. When I return, definitely I see the difference. So I'm really happy to see that even the people who we don't meet or see in person, they are doing their part of contacting the store or whatever and telling them, hey, your maintenance sucks. You need to work on that because we have customers complaining. I love it when that happens. But at the same time, it shouldn't have to get to that extreme. Just make sure that you keep the house clean. You know? Any employees are sick, it's very important to stay home, won't spread others. I would marry you though. You are the perfect wife. No, perfect. But I definitely try to improve every day, put it that way. I don't think anyone can be perfect for anything. Perfect for marriage, perfect for teaching, perfect for being a parent. But as long as you're improving and you're aware that there's always room for improvement, I think you can be happy with anybody. But I'll take that as a compliment. Thanks so much for the compliment. I was feeling like hell for the past couple of weeks, and compliments were not common. And now that you say something nice to me, I'm like, it's amazing how you're treated like you're of the worst of society, and you feel like nobody loves you because you're quarantined, and it's like you're dying right there coughing your lungs up, and nobody's telling you that they love you, and they're just saying stay away from me and whatnot. And it's so sweet that I'm finally getting someone telling me nice stuff. So I need to be here daily again. Anyway, I don't like customers drawing attention to hold up the lines be longer. Yeah, I'm never that kind of person. If I have a complaint, the few times that I have ever brought up any concerns, I am super discreet about it. I don't usually ask for the manager. I just inform a team member, whomever it is that I see. And if I don't see that they're spreading the word to whom I believe is the manager, then that's when I'm like, hey, may I have a word with you? But usually I like to submit it via social network or email or something so that there's written evidence that I did that. And that way I can reference it. Hey, so and so date, so and so time, I expressed this, what's happening? And I like to follow up only if it's a place that I frequent. And I know that's very selfish. It shouldn't be, oh, just because I have the potential of getting hurt here, that's why I care. It's just that if I went out of my way to spend those seconds to report something, I want to make sure that I'm not wasting my time. Again, because if I'm going to express something, I'm going to look at it as you don't care about me as a customer. I spend my hard earned money here, and you're not taking my inquiries with urgency or giving it the proper degree of attention that I would like. It's not like I need you to make me feel valued and important. I don't have a low self-esteem like that. But I'm just saying, I spend my money here, I consume this mess. I expect for you to take care of me, and if you don't, then I need to know so that I can take my hard-earned money and spend it elsewhere. That's it. That's it. We're just conducting business. Only God is perfect. Thank God you're all right, Henry. I can't stand people who forget my order but remember my payment. Yes! There has been so many places that have been tripping with my orders anytime I go. Like, last night, boyfriend decided he wanted wings, and then the girl was supposed to bring us, like, the complimentary celery and carrots, whatever. She never brought them. She brought them after our wings were on the table already. I don't care about vegetables at that point. All I want is my wings smothered in sauce and eat that messy fried stuff. I don't care about veggies at this stage. But anyway, she was nice. She just said, I'm sorry, did you guys say you wanted the celery and carrots? I'm so sorry, I forgot. I'll be right back. And she came back within a minute. But yeah, don't trip the customer like that. If we ask for something, especially an appetizer, complimentary or not, make sure that you remember the goddamn appetizer. I have had the experience of people bringing the fucking appetizer a minute before the food is here. I'm already there starving, enraged, hangry, and you remember my appetizer 2 minutes before my food is out here. I don't care about it at this point. In fact, give me my refund. But but yeah, just don't forget about the customers. Uh, what I said, appetizers, because you're gonna have a hangry customer, and those are more difficult to deal with. Make sure that you're focused. Don't forget your customer, and for the love of God, keep them hydrated. Keep bringing that water over to the table, Because sometimes we have to be like, excuse me, ma'am, could I get some more water? Don't leave the customer all dried up. That's terrible. And then we're going to have people having coughing spits because, they don't have their throat lubricated. So just don't be that person. Don't be that waiter or waitress. Take care of your customer. Let's see. Hi, Zam. Hey, Jack. You have a small order still was hard. Like, yes, that too. It's not like I'm ordering a banquet or feeding 8 people. Like, my party is usually 1 to 2 people. The most you will ever see is if I'm joined by my mom or joined by my brother, then it would be 3 to 4 people. But even then, it's not tough. It's not tough. I wonder if customers I deal with think the same way when it comes to my team. More than likely, in the same manner that you talk trash about customers, customers talk trash about you. And I can say that from personal experience, but I am really hoping that I'm not someone who leaves a precedent to where you need to talk trash about me because I really try my best to take care of you. And like I said earlier, I get audited, and one of the questions I get audited for says something like the cashier was attentive, addressed my needs or concerns or questions, seemed genuine, and what else? What's the other question? Anyway, it's genuine, courteous, attentive, went above and beyond to make sure that my needs were fulfilled. Something like that. And I'm telling you, I aced that shit. So I feel proud about it. But yeah, I feel like customers will only have their perception negatively impacted if you're really a piece of shit. And you have to be really bad at what you do to be considered that. Most people just want to be there, mind their business, and be right out. There's the occasional customer who really wants to share with you the story of their life, or they want to hit on you or whatever. But what you do is you keep it strictly professional. Like, hey, how may I serve you? How may I serve you today? Did you find everything? Can I get you something else? Is this gonna be it for you, etc.? But I never try to give the customer like feed them more with whatever interaction they have going on. That's the perk of me having my antisocial disorder, which is I don't feed what someone is saying, some stranger is saying, especially when they try to get into personal territory. I immediately bounce it back with questions about what they're getting. Did you need water to go with that? Did you need whatever it is? Did you need a bag or something? But I never tried to get involved any further than the professional aspect of it. I just don't care. I don't need you in my life. I've been fine for almost 30 years without you. And I'll be fine for another 30 years without you. So I don't know, you guys. I have tried to be better, but at this stage in my life, I feel like this is as friendly as I get, which is keep your distance. And oh my goodness, speaking of distance, I have to share with you guys something that happened to me this morning. 2 crazy people, but I will create a separate video for that so that I can share the details there and give it a subject, give it a, what do you call that? A title for my story. But it irritated me so much. So much, because they did something that I sit here and say a lot that you cannot do to me, or else I will be pissed off. But anyways, it should be a story that I hopefully do not need to share again. It was hopefully a one-time thing, but I was so angry this morning. I probably have some remnants of that, but nah, I got over it. But seriously, there's some people out there who are so crazy. You cannot be going around doing that to people. But anyways, I'll try to share it later tonight, and if not, definitely by tomorrow, I will get the story out there. But I finish my talks with customers with all part of the service. Yeah, exactly. Just make sure that of course you greet the customer, you offer them the best service that you can. Did you find everything? Did you need something else? Can I help you with this? Can I help you with that? And no matter what, say thanks at the end. And your outro, I guess, could be have a nice day or come back to see us, anything like that. That's another thing that we get audited on. The employee dismissed us properly, and in parentheses it says the examples said thank you or come again, stuff like that. And to me, it was so mind blowing to find out that that is something that you get audited on. And I'm like, why? This is basic. Why would you need to be monitored on the basic parts of the job? But clearly, not everyone does that. Not everyone is compliant. There are some people I work with who I suffer every time I have to collaborate with them, because I'm like, girl, can you not be nicer? Smile or something. And if you're not going to be there for the people who you're supposed to be serving, don't work with us. Just quit and give the opportunity to someone who would actually be invested into the team. Give them the chance to make the money that you make, you know? But I feel like that's a very selfish thing to do. If there comes a point ever in my life in which physically, emotionally, mentally, I cannot be invested in my job anymore, I'll quit. Like, sure, I'll be homeless, I'll be hungry, whatever, but I have enough dignity and integrity to be like, I'm not fit for this anymore. I'm not going to occupy a position that someone else could be fulfilling better. If I don't feel like I am among the best, I don't stay anywhere. But, anyways, that's just me. I know it's unreasonable to expect everyone to have that same mindset, but I'm just saying we need to have a little bit more honor. I feel like that's a trait that's just dying these days, and I hate it. Because when I was growing up and I would see the people my mom would interact with in professional settings, whether the setting was formal or informal, meaning you're at a bank, you are at a tribunal, or you are at a grocery store or something, no matter what the setting was, everyone had the same way of expressing themselves. But now it has gotten so rude and informal that I'm frustrated that I was brought up with the great values that I was brought up with. And I thought that growing up, I was going to be against people who were going to make me feel challenged. I needed to be competitive. And I'm like, I don't work hard. And my basic level is among the top. Why? You know, challenge us more. And that's why I guess the United States gets such a bad rap in a lot of things. Airports, we have among the worst in the world when it comes to international travels. Customer service, we suck. And many other things, you know. I do not want to be associated with that type of thing. I was angry and depressed this morning. I have tried so hard to do nice things for people I work with, but resources at my disposal keep letting me down. I understand. It can be frustrating when you don't have the proper support coming from your team, and it's even worse if you don't have support in your personal life either. There is no way I would be able to survive my job of 6.25 years if I didn't have the support that I have at home of being able to vent and the people I vent to understand me, and also the support of my few friends. Like, whenever they confirm to me that I am not crazy. Because sometimes when you see a pattern, a behavioral pattern being imitated by so many people from so many walks of society, you start thinking that there's something wrong with you. But if you really know that you're waking up each day and you're giving your best, that suffices. Even if you don't see it immediately, it may take years, but just set yourself with a good precedent, and then you can just hands off, and eventually you can find refuge in the fact that you did what you had to do. You don't owe anything to anybody. I know that was like a side rambling, but for me, when I feel like I'm about to get depressed because my resources are failing me, quote unquote, and I'm about to enter the frustrated stage, that's what I remember. One day I am going to move on to live a better life because I already dominate the skills that you are beginning to just discover, be introduced to, attempt to practice. That stuff is second nature to me. Oh, my team is great. It's that non-human resources. I got you. Zamri, have you ever dreamed of owning a restaurant? No, because as much as I love food for consumption, I don't enjoy the restaurant life. The restaurant environment is something that I can have in very limited doses. And I personally do not enjoy working with food. And if I am going to be a restaurant owner, I need to be able to be involved with my team at ensuring the highest quality possible. So I cannot aspire to owning a restaurant, but maybe if I had a ton of resources at my disposal to, like, say I have a lot of money and I want to knock doors on certain industries, sure, I could put together a team of people who are good at this thing that I am bad at, but I do not like to be involved in something that I'm absolutely not qualified for. I am absolutely not qualified to be responsible for the operations of a kitchen. I can tell you that much. And I honestly do not aspire for that. There's no way I can make this work for me if I don't have the slightest interest in it. And I know that there's more to management than being hands on with what you're actually selling, but what better way to be influential than you are the leader, you are the manager, you are the owner. When shit hits the fan, you're able to put a chef coat on and put the team back at bay. And if you're someone who you're just there because you're the one that can inject capital onto the business, but you're not really connected with what you're doing, you don't need to be running that business. You don't need to be owning that business. Maybe grunt the money to someone who will know what they're doing and just be disinterested, which means, just like I said, a grunt. I have $15,000, just to name a crazy number, at my disposal. I'm gonna give it to Jordan because Jordan knows what he's doing. He knows about food. He's excited about it. He cares about people. He has integrity. He knows about hygiene. He can start it. I'll just sit here and watch how the money that I decided to give away is improving someone else's life or giving someone else an opportunity to start something for themselves. But if I'm going to be involved in an industry, owning a business is because I know what I'm doing. And I can be involved to coach others, be a leader. And I find that some places are forgetting that. Some places, they are run by people who inherit their resources from their parents or grandparents, and they don't know how to maintain the legacy. And I feel like that's what makes some places lose their so-called prestige that they once held, if that makes sense. Yeah, I understand that. Oh, thank you, Zamri. I owe you that. All right. Well, you guys, I am going to conclude my rambling here because I better eat something before I go to the gym, or else my little French fry body is going to pass out. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. I had fun being here. It was good to see everybody, or mostly everybody. And I promise that I will show my face around here more often. But a week from now, I'm going to have the worst schedule ever. I guess this is like the last stretch. Given that Christmas is coming up, like the road has been nearly impossible to navigate. But hopefully, after that, I should have a relatively normal life, unless work screws me over again and I fall into the trap of I don't own my time and I don't know what's happening, and my body also doesn't fail me. I'm also happy to report that my foot issue is not as bad. I don't want to say it's not there anymore, but I've been trying to keep it away from stressors. Like, as soon as I am done working, I get off my feet and rest them and whatnot, and I definitely do not have to be crippled anymore or limp or anything. So yeah, it seems like my foot is pretty much mostly healed. I want to say 99% healed. The 1% is the potential of it getting messed up again if I'm not careful. But honestly, any part of your body is going to fail you if you're not careful. But at least I'm happy to report that that issue I had to where I just could not walk, it's gone. Because today I went out to do stuff with my brother, and we went many places, and I was speed walking like what characterizes me. So yeah, I'm excited that I got over that, and I got over my respiratory issues and all of that mess. So I don't see why I cannot live the good life back again streaming regularly. So yeah, I will really do my best to be here every other day minimum, but maximum multiple times a day if I can. Let's see. Great topic. Merry Christmas. Nice talking to you. Merry Christmas, Zim. Well, Merry Christmas to everybody. All right, guys. I'll see you soon.